Oh. Yoginam sukhamuttamam. The yogi who's now completed yoga is one who is yukta, ego with spirit. And so they're experiencing, they're being sukham uttamam, the highest gain. The highest gain is defined by one stopping seeking any other gain. Think of this factually. If you've reached the top of a mountain and you can't go higher, this proves that's the top of the mountain. Shared in a more practical way, when you are closer to the highest gain, you stop comparing. Comparing what you've done, comparing who you are, because joy is incomparable. So the more joyous I become, the less I compare. How do I reach this highest gain? Prashanta manasam hyenam. This quarter symbolizes sattva. To be like joy. When one knows that the purpose of their day, the purpose of their life is to be joyous, then they nurture quietude of mind. Ashanta manasa happened because of context. Prashanta manasa, because of content. One is nurturing this quietude, and they never sell this greatest asset of theirs. All of the valuables in our lives are only valuable if we have a quiet enough mind to enjoy them, If one's mind is disturbed, distracted, distant, no valuable is valuable. With this ideal, the third quarter, upaiti shantarajasam. With this ideal, one starts to dismantle the rajas or aggressiveness in their personality. This is done through karma yoga or one's lifestyle. One's lifestyle is more quietude oriented in the visualization of trying to see myself in water. The flow of this water has been slowed, has been stopped. Then the last quarter, Brahma Bhutam Kalmasham. This quarter symbolizes tamas. After I've worked on my aggressiveness. Now I have to work on my laziness. This is deeper. And this is done by jnana yoga. By jnana yoga, in the visualization of the flowing water, now that the flow has been slowed and stopped, that dirt can settle. And I can clean out that dirt to see myself. When one's lifestyle is sattvic, is joyous, one's vision becomes like that too. Brahma bhutam, when I transcend tamas, rajas, sattva, I come to experience infinity. No more limits, no more ropes. I am atita. I am transcendental. We continue. Verse 28. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. Yunjan, practicing. Evam, indeed, only. Sadatmanam, one is perpetually practicing, identifying with the Atma, the spirit, joy. This first quarter, we have already directly studied in verse 15. Some who are not trained in reflecting on Bhagavad Gita or our maps, they feel this is redundant. It is not, but to address any sense you may feel that this is redundant, I'm going to add more details. Working with this word sada, which means perpetual. Our journey, the beginning part of it, is for us to practice karma yoga. Another way to describe this is dharma. Dharma is my effort towards right actions with the right attitude. That's clear for everyone. But that's conditional. At night, I don't want to engage in the right actions with the right attitude. I give in to laziness, aggressiveness. Dharma is to be refined, to evolve to sat dharma. The right actions with the right attitudes, one has to give up more of themselves. This involves smarana, more remembrance of your guide, your parent. Dana, more generosity of your resources, time, and effort. Pratignya, this is to follow through with your commitments, your promises, your intentions. And raksha, which is more, raksha literally means protection, but more support. To give more support to creation. See how right actions with the right attitude all has to be intensified. From dharma to sat dharma. Because this is more demanding, this cannot be done solely with your effort. Now I have the humility that this is my effort and, in this context, Shri Krishna's effort. 50-50. And that, if we fundamentally want to practice perpetually, sadatmanam, has to evolve to Bhagavata dharma. That is the highest way to live. Not dharma, not sadharma, but Bhagavata dharma. This is the notion, the identification, all that I am and all that I do is his. All of this is Sri Krishna's. The ego, intellect, mind, breath, body, and all I do, all of the verbs that these equipments and ego engage in, this is all his. That is the surrender. It's no longer my effort because there's no longer me. Isn't that what contemplation is? In the 5 S's, the last S is surrender. Contemplation is changing your identification, surrendering the ego to the spirit, Bhagavata dharma. This identification has to be practiced, yunjan sada. But one cannot touch this if one is not prepared with sat dharma. And one can't touch that if they've not prepared with dharma. These are incredible thoughts. I've shared with all of you the best commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Second quarter. What does a yogi do? Vigata kalmashaha. Kalmashaha means dirt. In Hindi we say mala. Kalmashaha here means the vasanas. Vasanas. In your commentary, it may say sin. The original sin in Sanatana Dharma, unlike what is shared in some shallow ways, that the original sin is money or the original sin is sexuality, the original sin is ignorance. A sin is that which makes me feel I am what I am not. The original sin makes me feel I am the ego when I am not the ego. Vigata, there is no more sin, separation, and so on. And this is so practical. Yunjan evam sadatmanam. If you're perpetually practicing, what are you changing about yourself? The anatma vasana, this print that I am the ego, is now changed to a atma vasana, the print that I am the spirit. Sukhena Brahma samsparsham, practicing perpetually, changes my print, ... Then samsparsham. Sparsha means to touch. Samsparsham means to become. Become what? Brahma, the infinite. And what is the nature of the infinite? Sukha, joy. Pujya Swami Chinmayananda uses one of the best examples that I've ever reflected upon. You please reflect on this. What our lifestyle, Karma Yoga, and our vision, Jnana Yoga, are to be leading us to is Dhyana Yoga. This has been shared many times in chapter 6. Visually, this is like a pole vaulter. Pole vaulting here is compared to contemplation. So Vivek has this pole. Imagine Vivek is the ego, even though Vivek has no ego, but you can imagine that Vivek has an ego. And he's holding on to the body, mind, intellect, this pole. Body at the bottom, correct? It digs into the ground. The mind in the middle, the intellect on top. And I use that to lift my ego up. Udharet atmanam atmana. And then I'm at the top now. And what do I have to do with this pole? If I keep holding on, then I crash into the world. Imagine that bar is the world. But if I let go, what happens? The momentum carries me over that bar and I am free. Did that visualization work for you? Please reflect on that. The point in this comparison, let it be. When you've put in your maximum effort, that should be leading to humility and surrender, that this touching, this being of the infinite is not going to be because of the ego. I have to let the grace and guidance of my guide and my God propel me to the spirit. This sukha is atyantam sukham, the highest, the unconditional, the incomparable. Ashnute, one tastes this, eats this, is this. The logic of this last quarter is you cannot know infinity. All that we know is being facilitated by the finite. The intellect, as powerful as it is still finite. You cannot know the infinite. You can only be the infinite. When I let go of all that is finite, I let it be, I let it fall, I rediscover infinity. I rediscover independence. If all of this is abstract for you, let me reorient you. Imagine I'm an astrologer, a free astrologer. Right away, our imagination stops. Not possible. Imagine I'm a free astrologer and I'm reading your future. This is your fate. This is your destiny. You are Brahman. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh. 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 Appreciate the lifestyle. relax the body. Enjoy the breath. Chant with the mind. Inquire with the intellect. Visualize a pole vaulting scene. You are on one side. The bar is in the middle. The mat is on the other side. Presently, you are on the ground. The ground is rough. The ground is uncomfortable. You feel restless. Being honest about this, you pick up the pole. You, the ego, uses the pole, that is the equipment, body, breath, mind, intellect. You run with this. That is a lifestyle of karma yoga. For karma yoga, you come off the ground. You're on your feet. Living becomes less rough, less uncomfortable. You feel more rest. You want more, you need more. You reach the bar You dig these equipments into the ground. That is jnana yoga. You have the knowledge that you're not the body, the bottom of the pole, nor the breath, nor the mind, nor the intellect. You keep rising. You're now at the top. The bar symbolizes finitude. You can see finitude. You know infinitude is on the other side. And so you let go of the ground, of the pole. That is dhyana yoga. Dhyana is only for the ego. The ego is not holding on to any experience that is the ground, any equipment that is the pole. Through karma yoga and jnana yoga, guidance and grace is enabling the ego to cross over the bar from dependent joy to independent joy. The ego lands on the mat. This mat is the kutastha, the foundation, Brahma. In this, the ego merges with the spirit. And there is aste, rest. Realization is the only rest. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.